I actually feel sorry for Chris Chan or Christian Weston Chandler. I don't care if he's a sexual deviant or if he's schizophrenic. You know, he has comorbid conditions apart from his autism, whatever. He's just creepy, stalker, and all that. You know, he's an he's a repulsive human being, whatever. You know, autistic people generally aren't very likable people. They struggle with social interactions, social cues, and all that. And they were born that way, right? And for the autistics who try to struggle, who try to make friends, try to hold down a job, it's a big struggle for them, you know. And he doesn't shame me for being autistic because that's part and parcel of what autism is. Now, everyone who is autistic deals with it differently, you know. But end of the day, you know, it's what sets back a lot of people who afflicted with it when it comes to developing relationships, having friends, and all that. And it's a big struggle for them. Sometimes hard work works, other times it don't. You have to be very lucky with the people you try to be friends with. You have to be very lucky in the fact that they have to be accommodating to your eccentricities and whatnot. And autistic people can be very, very naive with people. They take them at face value, you know, because they were taught by their parents or by, you know, some parental figure that being nice, being friendly towards people equates to having everlasting friends. Now, in life, that don't work that way, right? You know, not everyone's going to be nice to you. Everyone's going to be backhanded, and everyone's been shat over, you know. But the whole, you know, people don't have to like Chris Chan. I'm not saying you got to start liking Chris Chan. That's not what I'm trying to say. But I don't understand this whole campaign against him. Whereas someone like Bill Cosby is far worse, in my opinion. Yeah, fucking Christian Weston Chandler is mentally ill, and he should have been locked up ages ago and been sought help. But I just don't see how these trolls or, you know, these people who have a crusade against him because he's repulsive are any better. To be honest, they should be locked up too because they're a bunch of sociopaths. But they get away with it because that's how bullies roll. You know, when they see somebody that they deem as inferior, you know, they secretly like the Nazis in my book. They secretly agree with the eugenics shit. They do. But when push comes to shove, and when they all got, and some of these trolls got illnesses themselves. I mean, what about that freak who posed as the fake Christian Weston? Didn't he survive cancer? He's just as, I don't care how accomplished he is. If he survived cancer, he's just as much of a defect as Chris Chanima. But anyone who has cancer at early age is a fucking defect, or anyone who has strokes is fucking defected in my book. You know, and you know, and if that troll is still suffering from the aftermath of cancer, you know, he's got to take drugs or, you know, whatnot, and he's got like a, you know, he's got a weak arm. I don't know his symptoms that way. In my opinion, he deserves for throwing shit at people he don't know. I don't care if Chris Chan is a cunt. You know, the trolls aren't any better. They're worse in my book for manipulating the guy who is obviously naive and all that. And you know, there are plenty of mentally ill people out there, so why single out fucking Chris Chan because he's into Sonic the Hedgehog or he's into fucking drinking sperm, which I don't get. You know, ultimately it was down to his parents to do something about it. I mean, you know, and I believe that they had him at a late age. They conceived him at a late age in their lives, and that's what, you know, gave him the autism. But they didn't know what autism is. There weren't any tests and such to pinpoint the, you know, the autism within a fetus, unlike Down syndrome. That's still in its early stages anyway. The autism, you know, the autism screening thing. You know, Chris Chan is Chris Chan. He was born that way. You know, it's alright saying to him, yeah, he's got to try and work and try and you know, trying to work hard. But if he's not got the mental capacity to do that, somebody with bipolar who need drugs to get by, what's the point in trying to instill somebody who's not as able-bodied as these guidelines if they're not as able-bodied as you? That's what I don't understand. If it's like asking a fucking somebody with no legs to try and walk, in my book, he's beyond that type of help. What he needs is 24/7 care, residential care, you know. And I suspect that, like the low functional autistics, he's quite violent too. I think he is quite violent, and he's a danger to society and to himself, and he should be locked up soon. But they just allow him to walk around public and do these crazy things, and you know, yeah, it's funny to laugh at freaks and all that, but I don't laugh at this shit, because he's a vulnerable person. Regardless of how disgusting he is, he's technically vulnerable. You know, you don't know any better, and upbringing might be a part of it, but at the same time, if you're born autistic, you can't help being a total cunt, you know, or not being as fair. But then I've seen able-bodied people who are very emotionally manipulative and do all sorts of underhanded schemes in their lives, you know, worse than the disabled guy. What's this disabled guy did that's wrong? He drew a yellow fucking. He did a amalgamation of Sonic the Hedgehog and fucking Pikachu from Pokemon. Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? You don't make me that angry about him. I don't hate the guy, and I don't feel the need to troll him. And if he wants to be a fucking tranny, well, there you go. He's mentally ill, my butt. If he wants to be a tranny, he's fucked in the head, and that's why he should be locked up and seek some help. I don't necessarily mean it's going to be made better, but I just don't think he should be. He shouldn't have had an internet connection in the first place. They shouldn't have got him an internet connection. But then you can't always anticipate the impact the internet has on your life. You know, I'm talking about the parents here. I mean, they ain't going to be clued up. But you know, for those who are disabled and all that, you know, people with disabled kids, and they decide to do YouTube videos of themselves, I recommend that they don't, because you don't know who you're going to deal with. You can't arrest every fucking troll on the fucking planet. They're always going to find ways to get a reaction, to get some lols. They're a bunch of sociopaths, and you know, and everyone's a sociopath to some degree. Everyone, to some extent, enjoys the suffering of others, you know. But you know, I do, but I limit that. I mean, I'm only nasty these days towards those who are nasty to me because of my lifestyle and all that. I wouldn't say I'm Chris Chan exactly, but I do admit that I do have problems in my personal life, such as, you know, I've got autism too, and I also survived a stroke, you know, and having to deal with that. But I like to think I'm a decent person. I had jobs before that, not great ones, but jobs nonetheless. And you know, I'll probably get like Chris Gillen. Oh shit, I got to sue Sophie Dempsey here. You decide to be a fucking tranny, but Chris Gillen's a freak himself, and he has no right to really denigrate the likes of Chris Chan when he's just fucking bad himself. He deserves to have some counselling and whatever. Probably at a residential home, whatnot. I don't know. But that's the thing. The point is, I think the point I'm trying to make, you're no better than Chris Chan, because most of the people who hate Chris Chan, many of the people are mentally ill themselves, the hardcore trolls. I mean, is that right? Just because you don't like someone, is it right to like expose the guy, like, because he's homophobic and all that? There are plenty of fucking homophobes out there, right? So why don't you expose them? I mean, like on Fox News and all that. What about the people fetishes? They're like, good-looking people like being shat on. They do exist. They're not all ugly people. They just like fucking the idea of shit turns them on, like being shat on. So him drinking sperm in a Fanta cup, in a Fanta can, it's nothing out of the ordinary for me. I'm not saying I like it, fuck no, or him fucking a blow up doll because he craves fucking intimacy from the opposite sex, you know, because of his autism. He just feels that left out. That's the only reason why he tries to chat up chicks, you know, and it don't always work out because the autism prevents you from doing that. Then you get granted there are autistics with who are got relationships, but they're either very, very lucky because of their physical attributes. They're either fortunate because physical attributes is what gets you fucking laid for the most part, especially if you're a woman. I mean, if you're a woman, you got autism, and if you're good looking, you got big tits, you got a nice figure, you're a little more likely going to get laid. The guys are going to look past the fact that you're you know, you're a bit of a spaz, but they ain't going to give a shit because they just want to stick their fucking cock in their batch, right? Or vice versa with a guy who's good looking, who may be educated, maybe like Alex Plank, you know, because he's got support from his family. That's how he's able to make quite a living from the whole autism community, or you know, any intervention from parents or from friends and all that helps him getting laid. Then yeah, not every autistic is built that way to cope with relationships and all that, you know. That's what holds them back. So it's like asking them to like do everything that everyone does, like, you know, go to a fucking bar when they get to suffer from sensory overload. You know, you don't know how it impacts them, but that's my point. Or if they're not always going to deal with like confrontations and all, they might fucking lose their shit. You know, that's the whole part and parcel of being autistic. You know, and most autistics don't hardly interact with people because of past experiences that forbids them from doing that. You know, they don't want to repeat the same bad experiences that make them feel depressed and suicidal and all that. So, yeah, but, you know, it's beyond a joke now with the whole Chris Chan thing. I don't find it all fun. I was just like, look, I don't really pay attention to the whole Chris Chan drama. I know he dresses like a tranny. He's doing it for... He does all this shit for attention because he wants validation. He just wants to have friends and all that. And he's trying to be outrageous because he don't want to feel fucking lonely. You know? It might be the wrong way to go about it, but I reckon the reason why he's doing this is because he just wants attention from the opposite sex. He just wants some form of acceptance, even though if it may be him being a joke. He just wants some recognition from people because he's been treated like an outcast all his life, and he might as well just use the outcast to get that attention. You know, I'm not. He can stick up for himself. You know, he might be a narcissist and what, but so what? Putting a narcissist there doesn't mean to say that, oh, we got to expose his address and ruin his life and, you know, leak his phone or try to pretend to be he's this woman that is actually interested in that. I just think that's crueler than the guy himself. You know, just give him false hope that this girl likes him when they don't. I just think that's quite spiteful shit, really spiteful shit, and just makes you look out to be a sociopathic bully. You know, it's psychological shit. That's just, it's just wrong. Even though Chris Chan's done a lot of wrong shit, no excuse the whole wrong shit you put forward. Just, you know, because you're just making fun of the fact that he's a fucking mentally ill person. Well, if you were decent people and Chris Chan isn't, when you have a petition to put him in a fucking funny farm. That's what I don't get. Put him in a funny farm where he belongs, because he's obviously got a lot of problems. You know. But I think the whole reason why he does all this shit is so he can get recognition from people. He just wants to be accepted, and he might not be empathetic and a nice guy about it. He might come off as a jerk, but that's part and parcel of being autistic. Not all autistics are jerks. I come off as a jerk at times, but you know, I try my best to be respectful towards other people. You know, not all. Sometimes I get. I'm a prick, but then there are plenty of normal people who are pricks, right? So why has he got to jump why has he got to go through a higher loop, through a higher goalpost? You know, why has he got to score a higher goalpost? Why has he got to train more when there are complete assholes who don't have any problems get away with murder? it's just the double standards. But if you just like making fun of him for the fact that he's inferior, that you support Hitler in some extent, that's fine. You have every right to feel that way. But when push comes to shove and you get cancer and have a stroke and you can't function anymore, and you're just as a freak as he is, in my book, you belong in the bottom pile. And I hope it does happen to you, because you don't know what it's like to have these illnesses. You don't know what it's like to be a cancer sufferer or have your fucking life fucked over since birth. Alright, so Chris Gillen's life has been fucked over. I know I take the piss out of him, but end of the day, if he didn't have his fucked up parenting life, if he was raised in a different way possibly, or if he had the right care, maybe he wouldn't turn out the way he did. If he just had some acceptance from people, maybe he wouldn't come off as a complete prick. The reason why Chris Gillen is a prick to other people is because that's his way to survive, because he feels like everyone's a fucking prick to me, so therefore I have to be a prick back, and I have to be a prick to everyone who's pricks to me. That's why Chris Gillen's such a fucking prick. Well, even though I tolerate him, but he's just a prick. It's just, his lifestyle and all that. That's just the way he is, part because he's autistic and because past experiences. That's what shaped him today. And don't get the whole tranny thing, but that's just an effect from the symptoms they got. It's just like an after effect from the mental illnesses that they all have. I just think they all need help. Trannies, I really do. Anyway, that's my rambling on Chris done.